What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with an Incursion raid video guide update with respect to the battle section. But more specifically, guys, I want to talk about how I've been attacking my lane specifically when I'm soloing, utilizing a non-HIVE-MIND team right now because I am slowly building them up. But at the same time, if you do have Super Scroll unlocked and you previously built up characters like Captain Carter and Captain America in the past Rebirth team, there's going to be an option for you to solo these nodes even without the combined efforts of HIVE-MIND right now. And more importantly, I also want to stress the fact that now that we have confirmation of both Carter and Captain America getting reworks with the respective Out of Time team, they're going to be immense here. They might have some stronger staying value in the battle rate, so just something to be mindful of, especially with them being the likely go-to for a war team as well. And they're going to have some staying value, especially with Black Knight being part of that. And thankfully, with the node playthrough that I'm going to show you, thankfully, both US Agent and Winter Soldier, who I'm bringing in, they're not built up. Gear tier 16, level 85, so they can still actually get the job done. It's really Captain Carter and Captain America that are providing a boatload of the defense and support, but as well as Super Scroll having his passive abilities really bringing the team over. So this is a good way to right now attack the battle nodes, thankfully nodes 1 and nodes 2. And again, with the boss node, there's not really, I've tried soloing it, it's difficult by yourself, but again, thankfully with each side, you have 4 alliance mates, so chances are we can take multiple attacks and get through it together, and that's really the hope, right? If you don't have HIVE-MIND and you do have access to Super Scroll, this is definitely a team that can get the job done if you're soloing the first 2 nodes. Having said that, let's get right to it. I'll show you guys here the gameplay. Now, keep in mind, guys, if you don't have Super Scroll, I definitely would not recommend this strategy, but it's more so for the late end gamers that do have Scroll unlocked with Rebirth already invested in, and it still makes sense that we can utilize this team for the time being. So, as you can see here, we start things off by using Super Scroll's basic, so that way we are able to get through some of those taunts in the very beginning. Even if he gets stunned, it's not going to be an issue. As you can see, Super Scroll getting the cleanse, but what you want to be ideally focusing on is utilizing US Agent to ability block Omega Red there and try to get as much you know, of the crowd controlling aspects there. We want to be focusing on some of the key targets like Agatha Harkness, you know, Cloak and Dagger, making sure that they don't get their abilities off. But as well, the big issue with this node is actually Nova. If he's able to land his special and ultimate, it's not the end of the world, but it just slows us down quite a bit. And with this one, even though my team is 1.6 million, still quite a bit to get through. So with the Scroll special, I recommend actually targeting Infinity War Thor, as you see in that left corner, right? Not only does that rewind Nova, but it just grabs that entire cluster there. And thankfully, a lot of buffs on our team with this Rebirth team, and that's why they stand a really good chance against this heavy crowd. And the thing about HIVE-MIND is the fact that, you know, you still need to bring all of them quite up, and thankfully with this method, if you do have Super Scroll, you can take advantage of the value that's already been invested in these past teams and characters. And again, I don't recommend this if you're a brand new player or mid-game and transitioning to obviously where I am right now in the game, but I think this is just more of a good way to take advantage of a currently existing team. Once you get Scroll's ultimate here, it's going to be a huge amount of damage that can wipe out pretty much the first wave. As you can see, 6 out of 12 enemies remaining. That's going to prompt the next wave, but that's why it's so important to have Scroll on this, with him being a big damage dealer and making the team even stronger. It's definitely why it's so pivotal to have him. So even if someone falls, so as long as it's not Captain Carter, you should be in a pretty good spot to bring the fellow Rebirth member back. And keep in mind too, guys, this is a Captain Carter and America that do not have the reworks done to their kits yet, so they're actually going to get even stronger. So the fact that they're doing well right now is really good. And now, mind you, both of them being at gear tier 18 definitely does help. Now that we got the stuns on the key damage dealers like Infinity War Thor, we can just focus on cleaning up, right? Really, it's about making sure that an ultimate from Scroll lands, and you can see just how much damage, and it was essentially very pivotal to wipe that out. And now we're just focusing on the damage dealers and controlling them. This team thrives on crowd control, and it's kind of how they did so well in the previous incursions as well. So doing really good here. Make sure you're trying to target the enemy that has exposure thanks to Scroll, because what that's going to do also is it's going to have passive damage over time. And again, we're just trying to control as best we can. Nova's able to get all his abilities off, but at this point, if you control Infinity War Thor, they're not going to have a lot of damage dealers, and it's really just kind of targeting the exposure, and then it's going to be pretty much just Absorbing Man and Nova, and a smooth and easy finish here. When it's getting close to the final enemy's HP here getting finished off, make sure you guys are just utilizing the basic abilities, because we need everything at fully max energy just to attack the second node. It is going to be more trickier, but at least this first node is nice if you control all the damage dealers as shown here. So pretty smooth, right? Not bad at all. You don't need gear tier 18 on Captain America and Carter, but it's just because I brought them into Dark Dimension 6, and as you can see, it helps significantly with this team's survivability. Okay, second note here. So I definitely think this is going to be requiring more of a better setup. No, you don't need to sack, so as long as you have the right energy and ability. So you really do want to start things off immediately with Super Skrull's ultimate. Part of the reason of how we built that up was really using the basic abilities in the previous node, so making sure that you're building that up, and that's why it's so important. Next up, follow that with Super Skrull special on Quicksilver. We want to land the exposure on him. He's really going to be the main target that we want to be focusing on this wave, but we also have to deal with a very pesky Eternals combination as well. So devastating ultimate from Carta is going to do some really good work there. We're consistently just trying to control Quicksilver with the exposure, but as well US Agent having all the ability blocks being landed here and there. I could definitely see Silver Surfer being an issue, so when you see that he's low enough, make sure you try and finish him off, so that way he's not getting his debuffs on our team. But even if he does, we do have the immunity as well, and just having a boatload of supportive capabilities. This is why Rebirth does exceptionally pretty well here, even against this enemy that's heavily crowded with damage, and as well as the taunts that we're kind of dealing with. Very, very close here. You should be able to, at this point, get super close here to finishing off both Quicksilver and Silver Surfer. So that's going to be the goal here, obviously, with the exposure. 8 out of 11 enemies, you're going to see that the Eternals do spawn. So that's why it's really important to kind of manage your cooldowns. I went ahead and actually stunned Icarus because I just wanted to slow him down and shut him down as soon as possible. Getting his ultimate off does hurt quite a bit, but thankfully, we have all the debuffs and trauma from Super Skrull's ultimate. So this is why, yeah, he's so pivotal to make this work, right? The full Rebirth team has absolutely no chance of getting through this, but Super Skrull is kind of the X factor, and why you would be getting some really nice value if you do have him on your team. Again, I don't recommend this team if you do not have Super Skrull, but he's kind of the band-aid approach that makes it work. And yeah, like I said, I can consistently solo the bio lane up until the boss, and obviously needing my alliance mates to help out with that to clean up. So yeah, pretty easy at this point, to be honest. If you can control the Eternals and finish off Icarus, I mean, 6 out of 11 enemies remaining. As you can see, what's on the board here is not a lot of damage dealers. It's really just cleaning it up. They, spawn a shield security. He's not going to be doing anything to us. The Iron Fists are typically an issue, and again, only if you don't have Super Skrull kind of inflicting that devastating damage and trauma at the very beginning, giving barrier to the team. But yeah, so just honestly so much benefit from having him on the team. So it's going to be pretty smooth sailing at that point when you take down Icarus. Cersei's tanky. You can focus her if you want, but chances are you might be able to get another ultimate off from Super Skrull, but I wouldn't recommend it. I'd recommend just saving the cooldowns. It's best to kind of practice that cooldown management, so that way you're attempting as if you are soloing all 3 nodes, and that way you have the maximal amount of damage and output that you can do, and to provide that for your team as well. So obviously you see that we're getting a bit of a pushback from these tanky guys, but feel free to use some abilities if you need to. I just went ahead and actually just used Super Skrull to do some good work. Even though there's 4 enemies remaining, if you're able to combine the abilities well, revive your allies, you can go ahead and use some of the smaller cooldowns like US Agent, Winter Soldier, just to get an upper hand on the enemies, because they're quite tanky in these incursion raids, and I think that's part of the challenge, right? And again, I'm trying not to use the big abilities, but I go ahead. Super Skrull special is a pretty light cooldown. We finally got the exposure on Cersei, and now we're just going to go ahead and target her consistently, and that way it is going to be doing AoE damage over time every time we hit these enemies here, as you can see, right? So slowly but surely with the exposure, absolutely love Skrull for that. So here we go, 30 seconds remaining. Like I said, it's a little time sensitive. You have to know what you're doing, but thankfully I've had enough experience going through it, and you should have just enough time. And again, 2 characters being on gear tier 16, 2 at 18, but they're really more of a supportive character, not doing a lot of damage. It's Super Skrull, it's really carrying the team. So hopefully this helps you guys if you have similar characters and teams. It buys us a bit more time to slowly build up HIVE-MIND. We don't urgently need it right away, but this is what I've been doing to at least get through my lane and then beat the rest of my line mates. at the boss node. So thank you for your guys' time as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.